I think if you can just even with us, because we didn't have a lot of debt, we built our business, probably 90% of the stuff in the salon was secondhand. All my stations, everything, I bought from a salon that was going out of business. The chemical processors, I bought new sinks and stuff, but it was like I didn't go deep into debt. I had people, luckily, my husband and his friends could do the shop, you know. I scored at Lowe's. I got the flooring on a tax-free deal, you know,
Yeah.
and things like that.
Scavenging.
And so when COVID came, I didn't have to pay for any of my products. All I had to worry about was my rent, my hydro, my insurance, and my cell phones and that kind of thing. So that takes a lot of pressure off if you don't go in and just try to be like this big boom. Just gradually go in and you can replace things with the newer things later on.
Right.
But it still looks beautiful. So, you know,
I think we get caught up sometimes in this sort of everything needs to happen now kind of mentality, right? Where I want everything to look perfect on day one. And you're right, it evolves over time. And if you start with one little thing, one brush, then you just keep adding on, and eventually you get to where you want to be.
Exactly. I bought like secondhand chairs for the front of the station, or for the waiting area at the front of the salon.
Yeah.
And the shelving for the products were secondhand. And they were okay, but as time went on and I had a little bit of money in the bank, I bought new stuff and new things to, you know, so that it looked nicer and more professional. So I think if you don't go crazy on the spending and just really focus on doing your very, very best with each situation, whatever your job is.
Takes a lifetime to build a reputation and a minute to kill it, right?
Absolutely. And another thing for hair salons in particular, don't allow any gossip in your salon.
Oh, that's good, because what salon do you go to where that doesn't happen?
Yeah, you know,
I know.
And it's like, no, because it first of all, that's what people are going to remember. And if you're talking about somebody else, you know they're talking about you too when you leave. So it's like, I learned that from Laurel, she has a shop in town, and Wendy, who I used to work for. They didn't allow it in the salon, and that was a really valuable lesson for me as a person.
That's great. What's in your future, Miss Rhonda?
I don't know. I've sort of cut back on my hours. I'm not doing quite as many because we're going through some things personally at home right now.
Okay.
And but the girls are, you know, doing their regular thing there, and I think I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. Like, that's the beauty of hairdressing.
Yes. Well, we love what you're doing.
Thank you.
And I'm really glad that you came here today. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you all for joining us today. Make the best out of your day, and we'll see you next time.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
My name is Matthew Rutledge. I'm a 60 scoop survivor, born in Red Lake. Was adopted from there to Toronto at the age of 4. A lot of our brothers and sisters, family members got separated from each other. That was the government's goal, to break that connection from brothers and sisters. Basically taking the Indian out of the child. Right now, they're still trying to find themselves. Originally, my birth name is Harvey Halverson. In my high school days, teens, I was trying to fit into society. I knew I was First Nations, but I didn't know who I was inside. I think later in life, I started that journey. I am proud, Anishinaabe man, who I am now. I love life, who I am.
I'm Wendell Clark with a word about winning. We all know it takes a team effort in any sport and with any challenge. You can be a part of the winning team that shuts out impaired driving. Whether you're out on the town or just hanging out with friends, drink responsibly. Always have a plan for a safe ride home for yourself, your family, and your friends. You'll be helping to shut out impaired driving.
Visit ArriveAlive.org to find out more. Arrive Alive. Drive sober.
This is Rogers TV.
Sandy, how are you?
I used to work with, he used to drive us down to, remember with the mail? That was at our Kmart days.
Yep.
That was a long time ago. Yeah. 70s?
Long time ago.
Yeah, it was. How you keeping? I said, I'm going to We're off the fifth line. Or better. Better? Yeah, I would skip that. Remember when we had that back rental?
The last time I talked to him, he was in for 30 grand. He paid Winmar to come in, take care of things.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you take your seats, please, we're going to be starting very shortly.
Yourself, sir? Have a good drive? Second row, I think.
Please take your seats. The parade is on its way. Please stand for the arrival of the parade. Nothing better than a parade, I gotta tell you. Please be seated. Gives me goosebumps every time. So bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of your hosts, the Angus Legion, the Township of Essa, and the Canadian Association of Veterans in United States Peacekeeping, Jerry Chalmers, CD, Central Ontario Chapter, welcome to our annual Peacekeeping Ceremony. Bienvenue à tous à notre cérémonie aujourd'hui. My name is Vern Tyfair, President of Central Ontario Chapter and your Master of Ceremonies for today. I will ask Catherine Key to come up and do the land acknowledgement.
I would like to begin today's ceremony and acknowledge the sacred land on which we are today. This land, in which we call Mother Earth, our Earth Mother, is the territory of the Anishinaabe, includes the Ojibwe, Ottawa, and Potawatomi nations, collectively known as the Three Fires Confederacy. We are dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture and committed to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect with all First Nation, Métis, and Inuit people. Reconciliation requires that we recognize Indigenous land title as set out in the Royal Proclamation of 1763, which envisions self-determination and self-government. The Truth and Reconciliation Report and calls to action recommend that all levels of government implement Indigenous rights in the original spirit of the treaties. Indigenous peoples and allies for reconciliation view the treaties as a sacred obligation that commits both parties to maintain respectful relationship and share the lands and resources equitably. Today, Simcoe area is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island. We are grateful, honored, and humbled to have the opportunity to live and work in Simcoe County on this territory.
Thank you, Catherine. She's a little shorter than me. Well, folks, today is a very special day indeed. 50 years ago today, we suffered the biggest, most single loss of Canadian lives on a peacekeeping mission. On this date, 1974, Canadian peacekeepers serving with the United Nations Emergency Force in Egypt and Israel were flying in the Canadian Forces Buffalo transport aircraft on a UN service which was shot down by Syrian air defense missiles while preparing to land in Damascus, Syria on a regular resupply mission. There were no survivors. They were Captain Foster, pilot, Captain Moreau, pilot, Captain Wicks, Air Transport Unit, Master Warrant Officer Cravo, Royal Canadian Regiment. He was from Angus. Master Warrant Officer Landry, Royal Regiment, Master Corporal R.C. Spencer, Air Transport Unit, Corporal Kennington, Air Transport Unit, he was a flight steward, Corporal Simpson, Transport Unit, and Corporal B.K. Stringer, Air Transport Unit, who was also from Angus. We are honored to have with us today several members of the families who were on that resupply mission on that fatal day. The Stringer family and the Crable family are here with us. We welcome you and thank you for being here today on the special anniversary of the Buffalo aircraft. This wonderful wall that we have behind us is a tribute to all of them, as well as to all our peacekeepers who have made the ultimate sacrifice. The Wall of Honor has the name of the 130 Canadian peacekeepers who gave their lives in the cause of peace while serving with the United Nations on peacekeeping and peacemaking missions. And believe us, folks, they send us to the worst places in the world to do a peacekeeping mission. Ask anybody wearing a blue beret, they'll tell you. Securing political solutions and sustainable peace is a top priority. Peacekeeping missions help create safe spaces for dialogue, facilitate reconciliation and peace building, and support free, fair, and inclusive democratic process, including elections. In 1988, UN Peacekeeping was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize because under extremely difficult conditions, its forces contributed to reducing tensions where an armistice had been negotiated, but a peace treaty was yet to be established. Peacekeeping Day was created to recognize the service of Canadians in faraway places in the service of peace. Since 1947, members of Canada's armed forces and diplomatic services have served on peacekeeping missions around the world. And we have lost diplomats, I believe it's 4 of them so far, on missions around the world doing UN peacekeeping. Additionally, since 1992, members of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, provincial and municipal police forces have served in peacekeeping support missions around the world. Today is about recognition and commemoration of peacekeepers past, present, and yet to come, and their families. Recognition and thanks to those who helped make the peacekeeping duties less arduous, and remembering our fallen comrades who have died in the service of peace. Nations and other peacekeeping missions or other support operations, it's very important. It also includes the 158 Canadian soldiers who were killed in Afghanistan. There's 3 Royal Canadian Mounted Police who were killed in Haiti. And we have on the wall a small representation of the Korea veterans who, after the armistice was signed, lost their lives while they were still over there under the UN flag. Les noms de nos 130 soldats canadiens qui ont sacrifié leur vie pour la paix au service des Nations Unies et d'autres opérations de maintien de la paix sont inscrits sur le mur d'honneur. Le mur inclut les noms de nos 158 soldats qui ont perdu leur vie en Afghanistan, les 3 membres de la GRC qui ont perdu leur vie à Haïti, et 6 noms qui représentent les vétérans de la Corée qui ont perdu leur vie en Corée. We have special guests with us today. The Crable family, which I was talking to earlier, they're here. I can see them now, they're waving. Members of the Stringer family, Stu and his family. These are the 2 families who lost members on Buffalo 9 that day. As well, we have several Silver Cross mothers with us today. Mrs. Anna Loveman. We have, is Mrs. Dinning here? Did she show up? Is she here? Thank you all for being here on this special occasion. And a special welcome to the representative of the Ministry of Veterans Affairs. She couldn't be here herself, and so she delegated, like a good leader does. And Mr. Tony Van Bynen, he's here representing her. Our new CFB Borden base commander, who I had the privilege of meeting today and gave a tour of the park. She's awesome. Colonel Ramasar, CD. And base chief Jeremy Peters could not be here, he's on holidays. Acting commander, 16 Wing, my good friend, a good friend, Terry Wong, and Wing Chief Peljak. All of the honorary colonels who are here today, my good friend, the Ombuds, Colonel Jardine, she's here, I see her. Welcome all of you for being here today. And our typical MPs are always here. Big Bad John there, I see him there. The president of the National Peacekeeping Association, Ron Griffith, could not be here. He sent his condolences, but he's having some health issues. I have my good friend, RSM retired Brian Budden of the Queen's Rifles. Where are you, Budden? Back there, sir. There he is. And shout out to Joe and Shelley, who came all the way from Windsor. Joe and I served together back in Ottawa. And a representative of the Métis Nation of Ontario, Veteran Council, welcome. There's a bunch of them. One came all the way from Thunder Bay, and one came all the way from Dryden, 2 hours past that. I guess he wanted to watch TV. Oh, wow. Welcome, welcome. I want to thank, well, we also have District E Commander Rick Preston and the Zone 3 Commander Chuck Aran. There are many groups and individuals who, without this, we couldn't make it happen. There's a lot of work involved here. I will name but a few. Base Borden and their personnel, specifically the Base Commander, Colonel Ramasar, the Base Chief, Warrant Officer Peters, and Base Chief Assistant Sergeant Harvey. Big thanks to the Base Museum for providing the static vehicles that you see today. They brought them from the museum. Pretty bad when you gotta drive a vehicle from a museum, but that's okay. Thank you to the Angus Legion, our host, President Howie Hipwell. I don't know if you're still here, Howie. Thank you for your continued unwavering support, and to the Township of Essa. I know I talked to the mayor a few times, who donated this wonderful piece of property for us to use. And of course, we have our friends from Sandy Cove Acres. They're getting few and far between, but they're here, so thank you and welcome. You honor us all with your presence every year, and we're proud to have you here. We have our elected politicians, like I said. We've got Terry Dowdle and John Broussard here. Doug Shipley could not make it, so he sends his regards. And I don't see the members of provincial parliament. Are probably busy. We do have Mayor James Leduc of Bradford, West Gwillimbury. He's here. Thank you for coming. So for those of you who can stand, we're going to ask you to stand on several occasions. When the base commander arrives for the general salute, the playing and singing of the national anthem, our prayer, the last post, Lament and Reveille, the benediction, and God Save the King. Don't worry, I'll lead you through it, tell you when to stand, because there's lots to remember there. There will be a reception afterwards at the Angus Legion. They have food there and drinks, of course, at the bar. You got to pay your own. Unless you buy one for me, then it's okay. As well tonight, because this is the 50th anniversary, it's a special occasion. We're having a special supper at the Legion in Barrie. If you're interested, come and see me afterwards. The cost is free. That's pretty expensive. And the dress is your full dress with tunics and uniform and medals. So today, the reviewing officer will be Colonel M.D. Ramasar, CD, Commander CIB Borden, MPG, TG. Colonel Melissa Ramasar joined the Canadian Armed Forces in 2000. She graduated from the Royal Military College as an officer of the Corps of Royal Canadian Electrical and Mechanical Engineers. She's REME. With an undergrad in mechanical engineering, Colonel Ramasar served in command and staff positions at every rank in units, including 1 service battalion, where she was the vehicle platoon commander, assistant adjutant and maintenance officer, 2nd Battalion Prince of Patricia Canadian Light Infantry, unit maintenance officer, and second in command of administration company, and the RCEME school officer in charge for officer training and unit adjutant. She worked in Director General Land Equipment Program Management, and she worked as a 5 Service Battalion Administration Company Commander, and 5 Canadian Mechanized Brigade Group Headquarters. She got around. Upon promotion to Lieutenant Colonel, she was posted to Canadian Joint Operations Command, followed by command of the Canadian Force Leadership and Recruit School. Promoted to Colonel in 2023, Colonel Ramasar was posted to the U.S. Army Command and General Staff College and Advanced Military Studies at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, where she completed her DP4 and served as a seminar leader for the Advanced Military Studies program. Colonel Ramasar's operational experience includes Operation Athena, Battle Group Maintenance Officer in Kandahar, Afghanistan, Operation Unifier Logistics Modernization Team Lead in Roto-O in the Ukraine, Operation Impact Team led for the logistic enhancement in Lebanon and multiple domestic operations. Colonel Ramasar graduated from the 43rd Joint Command and Staff Program at the Canadian Forces College in Toronto in 2017, and the Advanced Strategic Leadership Studies Program in Fort Leavenworth. She holds a Master's of Defense Studies and a Master's in Strategic Studies. On 19 June 2024, Colonel Ramasar assumed command of CFB Borden and the Military Personnel Generation Training Group. So she's going to be our reviewing officer today. She just took over command. I gave her a tour of the park today, and she's just impressed. So we have another 5 minutes before she gets here. Anyway, just relax. Yeah, smoke them if you got them. Please stand for the arrival of the base commander. Please remain standing for the playing of the national anthem. Please be seated. We're going to pass it on to the Padre. For those of you who wish to remove your headdress, please do so. If you don't, that's okay.
Almighty God, we ask your blessing upon all of us gathered together to celebrate Peacekeepers Day. We give thanks to you for guiding people of our wonderful country to give of their time defending not only our own country, but the people of many nations around our world. Bless the men and women of all armed forces here at home and abroad. Give them your grace to uphold the standards for which they have taken an oath. Bless especially those who are members of the Peacekeepers now at present, those who have served in past days, and those who will uphold the tradition set before them as we go into the future. Today we also remember and give thanks for the 9 Canadian peacekeepers tragically killed some 50 years ago this very day on their way to an operation in the Middle East. Grant them eternal rest and peace-filled hearts in those they left behind as they gave their lives doing your will, bringing peace to our troubled world. Bless them, their loved ones, and all those dedicated to care for our country and for peace around this earth, our island home in a vast universe. Bless us to continue their mission, peace on earth, goodwill to all. This we ask in your holy name. Amen.
For those of you who removed your headdress, please return headdress. Thank you, Padre. Please stand for the last post, lament, and reveille. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. Please be seated. We are going to proceed with the laying of the wreath. If I can get the Silver Cross mothers to come up with their siblings and family members, please come on up. That includes the Crable family, the Stringer family. Come on up, please, because the first wreath to be laid will be from the family. And I do things a little differently. I want everybody up here because that's the families on the wall. We'll lay a first cross and then spend a moment at the wall. Come on up. On behalf of Canada, the representative for the Minister of Veterans Affairs, Mr. Tony Van Biden, and accompanied by John Broussard and Mr. Dowdle. Please come on up. You're after them. You'll notice they're being escorted by people in a baseball uniform. These ladies are the team that we sponsor every year, and I believe they won the championship last year, did they not? And if you didn't, say yes anyway. Yeah. Yeah. On behalf of Veterans Affairs Canada, Melissa Hobson. Representing Canadian Forces Base Colonel Commander Melissa Ramasar and her acting Base Chief Warrant Officer Motang. Over here. Mike, you want to do that promise of Ontario for us, please? Nobody's here. On behalf of the provincial legislature, acting MPP Mike, you're up. Veteran Ombudsman, ma'am, come on up. The Ombudsman one? Ombudsman. There's one there that says Ombudsman. Sandy McDonald, Mayor of Essex Township, followed by Mr. James Leduc, Mayor of Bradford, West Gwillimbury. Thank you. Good to see you too. Did you bring a wreath? No? Use that one. He's already gone. Representing 16 Wing, Lieutenant Colonel Terry Wong and Chief Warrant Officer Robert Peljak. Hope I said that right. Representing the Jerry Trombley CD Central Ontario chapter, I know Colette's here. Can you come up, Colette? You and your daughter? Both of you come on up. I was going to get Fern Bayajon to come up too. Can you come up, Fern? Escort. President of the Angus Legion, Howie Hipwell, and First Vice Peter Matthews. Marcel. Marcel. Representing the Barrie Legion, President Marcel Vigneault. Mr. Brian Budden, come on up. Representing the Queensland Rifles. Retired RSM Brian Budden and the Padre. District Commander, Zone E3, Rick Preston and Mike Giovanetti. You can start the second row if you want, guys. Commander Zone E3, Chuck Aran and Judy Giovanetti. Four for One Association, Lieutenant Colonel retired Bill Sargent and retired Chief Warrant Officer Wally Capstick. Veterans Club of Barrie, President Paul Peary. Canadian Peacekeeping Association. Bob, will you do the honors, please? Bob George, who is past president, national vice president, and also vice president of the local chapter. Representing the Navy League of Canada, Diane Shuzlet. On behalf of Canada's Naval Memorial, Dave Aspin. Is Mr. Buck Robinson here for ANF? No? Which one we got there now? Family Resource Center? I know she's here. There she is. So Jennifer Landon. In memory of Hans Quigley. Sandy McDonald and Diana Shaughnessy. In memory of their father, Douglas Shaughnessy, World War II veteran and peacekeeper and good friend of mine, Sandy Cumming and Tim Shaughnessy. In memory of Chief Warrant Officer John Stringer, Stu Stringer. That's it. I believe that's it for laying of wreath. Thank you very much, everybody who was involved with that. Now we'll get on to our speeches. And I know that whoever's doing the speeches, we'll keep it short because we got people on parade there who are falling out and they needed a beer. We'll start off with the mayor of Essex Township. Where are you, Sandy?
Good morning, Peacekeepers, Veterans, Emergency Services, ladies and gentlemen, and special guests. It is my honor, on behalf of ESSA Council, to welcome you to Angus, Essa Township, and to this amazing Peacekeepers Park. Essa residents are very proud neighbors of our military. August 9th, Peacekeepers Day was established in 2008, 16 years ago. My siblings and I are proud children of a World War II vet, Korean vet, and a peacekeeper. And today, all Canadians will honor and give thanks to our peacekeepers, past, present, and future, across our great country. August 9th, 1974, 50 years ago, was a day Canadians wept for the loss of 9 of our brave soldiers when their Buffalo plane 461, Flight 51, was shot down. Tears were shed for their families who lost their loved ones, who would not be returning home. Many of us here remember it all too well. 2 of the soldiers, Master Warrant Officer Cyril Cravel and Corporal Bruce Stringer, lived in Angus with their families, and many knew them as friends. To their family members joining us here today, we give you a heartfelt thank you for your loved ones who proudly served our beautiful country, Canada, at home and abroad, helping to maintain peace and freedom to allow us to live the lives we do today. Their lives were cut short too soon, and they gave the ultimate sacrifice. This was and still remains the largest single incident loss of life in the history of Canadian peacekeeping operations. Your loved ones will never be forgotten. Their stories will continue to be shared through print, media, documentaries, and the beautiful art pictures, and some of them are here in our Peacekeepers Park today by artist Dawn. Thank you to the Royal Canadian Legion for providing youth education programs. This allows our youth to be able to create poems, stories, and pictures of our brave men and women. To all our brave men and women who sign up to proudly serve your country, all of us here and all Canadians coast to coast commend you and thank you for all that you have done and will continue to do. To our government that makes decisions for our armed forces, please provide all the tools needed to keep them safe and able to do their job. When they return home from deployments, some may be broken mentally or physically. Embrace them with all the care that they will need to heal, to be that strong, brave, and healthy soldier who did not hesitate to proudly sign up to serve their country. A very special thank you to Fern Telfer, Bob George, for continuing with your team to find new ways to honor and tell the stories and history of the missions of our brave men and women. You have done such a great job, and you will continue to surprise us with many more additions. This is such a peaceful park to visit and quietly give thanks to all those we have lost and for everyone who has served their country. And at this time, I'd just like to extend a very big heartfelt thank you also from Warden Clark from the County of Simcoe on behalf of County Council. Thank you. Thanks.
I will ask the Honourable Mr. Van Bynen to come up here on behalf of the Minister of Veterans Affairs, say a few words.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Good. Thank you. First of all, thank you. It's a real honor to be able to participate in this very significant moment in this community and for our Canada. Today is the 50th anniversary of a tragic event, an event that Canadians will never forget. On August the 19th, 1974, a Canadian Armed Forces aircraft on a routine resupply flight to the Golan Heights was shot down over Syria. 9 Canadian peacekeepers died. And it's worth repeating. They were Captain George Gary Foster, Captain Keith Mira, Captain Robert Wicks, Master Corporal Rod Spencer, Corporal Bruce Stringer, Master Warrant Officer Gaston Landry, Master Warrant Officer Cyril Corwu, Corporal Michael Simpson, Corporal Morris Kennington. It was a loss of life in a single day that was the largest in Canadian history. The Buffalo 9, as they were dubbed in reference to the Buffalo cargo plane, were among some 130 Canadian peacekeepers killed in the line of duty. From the earliest United Nations peacekeeping missions, more than 125,000 members of the Canadian Armed Forces have served in peacekeeping operations, and over 4,000 officers from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and other civilian police forces have also participated. Many return home with a physical and psychological wounds that have stayed with them for the rest of their lives. Canada has a proud tradition of peacekeeping. From the early days of the UN peacekeeping operations, following the end of the Second World War, Canada has played a leading role. Canada's support has proved to be instrumental in restoring security and peace in areas that are devastated with conflict. Our peacekeepers have demonstrated compassion and courage in the pursuit of peace. We are proud to honor all those who have served and those who continue to serve on multinational peacekeeping operations around the world. And today, we gather as a community across the country to recognize their service, to recognize and remember the sacrifices that they made to protect others. Today, we mourn the loss of many courageous people. To the peacekeepers here today, to those who have served in the past, and to those now on missions around the world, thank you for your service in the cause of peace and freedom. We make this solemn promise to you. We will remember.
Thank you, sir. If I get the base commander to come up, please.
Hello et bonjour. Canada Retired Jocelyn Tenneco Wong, honorable members of Parliament and Provincial Parliament, mayors and municipal leaders, Silver Cross mothers, Mrs. Carol Collier, Mrs. Kathleen Smith, and families, leaders and members of our Indigenous communities, veterans and members of the Canadian Association of Veterans in UN Peacekeeping, personnel of the Canadian Armed Forces and Defense Team, honored guests. Aujourd'hui, c'est une journée de célébration et de souvenir, car nous exprimons notre fierté et notre respect pour les plus de 125 000 casques bleus canadiens qui ont participé à des dizaines de missions internationales depuis 1948. These are members of the Canadian Armed Forces, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, provincial and municipal police forces, diplomats, aid workers who have worked to promote Canadian values and interests of international peace and security. More than 100 of these peacekeepers did not return home, their lives sacrificed in the pursuit of peace and stability. Cela inclut les Buffalo 9 qui ont été tués lorsque leur avion porte l'insigne de l'ONU a été abattu le 9 août 1974 lorsqu'il offrait un soutien logistique aux observateurs de l'ONU sur le plateau de Golan. Today, August 9th, marks the 50th anniversary for what was the greatest loss of life in a single event for Canadian peacekeepers. It hits particularly close to home here in Angus as two of the personnel who made the ultimate sacrifice, Master Warrant Officer Cyril Carriveau and Corporal Bruce Stringer, called Angus home. To the Carriveau and Stringer family members joining us here today, no words can truly bridge the gap of what was lost that day, but please know that all of us here today remember their sacrifice. Your history, this park, is our history. Les Forces armées canadiennes sont fières de participer à des missions importantes partout dans le monde et au pays pour appuyer nos alliés et nos compatriotes. The work done to promote a safer and more peaceful world is something all Canadians can stand behind. By marking this day, we celebrate and express our gratitude to those who continue to serve, those who have served, and those who have died in the service of Canada as UN peacekeepers, whether from visible or invisible wounds. This park stands as an incredible testament to our peacekeepers and recognizes the special relationship between CFB Borden, Angus, and surrounding communities. Depuis plus d'un siècle, nous avons grandi ensemble. En tant que commandant de la base, je suis fier de poursuivre cet héritage, le parc Peacekeeper étant un symbole des liens solides qui nous unissent nos communautés. Thank you for the dedication you have demonstrated in the creation of this space and what it represents. Today serves as a clear reminder that our defense team and their families are surrounded by communities where they are respected, included, and welcomed. As CFB Borden remains dedicated to inspiring and training the next generation of soldiers, sailors, and aviators, I wish to express my profound thanks for your unwavering support to our base. To peacekeepers, past and present, to those who support them, and to those who never let us forget their contributions, thank you. Merci.
Padre, benediction. Padre, come on up with a benediction. Please stand for the benediction. God save the King, and remain standing when the base commander leads on the general salute.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we commend to your gracious care and keeping all the men and women of the various branches of the Canadian military, both at home and abroad. Defend them day by day with your heavenly grace. Strengthen them in their trials and temptations. Give them courage to face the perils which beset them, and grant them a sense of your abiding presence wherever they may be. Bring them and all peacekeepers home to the peace and security of our country. We ask this in your holy name, and ask your blessing upon us on this holy day.
Please remain standing for God Save the King. Before the base commander leaves, one more thing. Mr. Don Ward, can you step out in the middle there, please? Don, step out. I just want to point out this gentleman, Don Ward. The portraits you see on the walls and all the art that gets done, he's the artist. He's the man that makes it happen. Please remain standing while the base commander leaves and we do the general salute.
General, salute! Salute! Attack! Chuck!
Please remain standing while they march off the troops, and about a great hand of applause for them. Piper, you're going to march them off?
Right close. Order. March. Left hands right. Turn. Flag. March.
This concludes one more year and celebrating our peacekeepers. Thank you all so very much for being here today. Without you, this would be nothing. Again, don't forget there is a reception at the Angus Legion right after this. So enjoy. And we didn't get any rain, so you can't call me the rainmaker anymore. You ducked that one.
Going to the vigil on December 6th that you sponsored.
Yes, I'm so glad that you mentioned that, Karen. And I think it's really helpful for our community to know that CFUW very much supports our work here. We consider them to be a very valuable, important partner to our ultimate goal that we all have and share about ending violence against women. And so certainly we've partnered with CFUW in working with the city of Barrie in asking them to declare gender-based intimate partner violence as an epidemic. And very happy, as I know the two of you are, that we were successful in that request. And so on December the 6th of 2023, the city of Barrie declared that gender-based violence is an epidemic. And so it is just one of the many ways that CFUW partners with agencies in support of the work that they do, because ours is primarily violence against women. That is what we do. And so we're so thankful for that partnership of CFUW. We're thankful for your voice. We're thankful for how you have such a presence in the community, because it's heard and it's loud and it's strong. And we're just really happy to be a part of that. I'm curious, just kind of going back to how you do things locally here in the community. In terms of the Canadian Federation, do they have issues that they primarily work towards, and then locally you also adopt those issues, or do you define what your own issues are based on your own city that you're in?
We do the issues like that are national, like we look at those, but we just do the ones that are pertinent for us because we can't do all of them. But there are issues, we try to be current, and they're usually based on the resolutions that are passed at the AGM each year. So like we've had affordable housing as our initiative the last 2 years, and I think we're going to go forward with that. And each October, our club has a public meeting. So our meeting is open to the public, and that's always on a pertinent issue, a current issue, and it's open to the public. And I want to add how excited we were to be in City Hall when they declared that an epidemic. That was just, it's really something to be on the ground floor for something like that.
I think you hit the nail on the head, Teresa. Most of the issues that we do are the local issues. They're more meaningful to us. Now, Ontario, the Ontario Council runs a speaker series, and last year they had a couple of powerful presentations. When you speak about local issues, so the intimate partner violence was one of the topics last fall, and so the women, I think, in Eastern Ontario have done a lot of work down there in Lanark County, and also some of the work that's been done in Hamilton. There was another excellent talk about food insecurity, and that piggybacks on to our interest in supporting the food bank.
And we also just had a very good presentation on AI intelligence and the ethics of it, and that was quite amazing. You almost need to go through what they said again because it's so much to take in at one time.
Yeah, that is something that I really haven't even spent any time educating myself on, and I know that it's right in front of me that I need to focus some attention on that. So you're farther ahead in the game than I am about learning about that for sure, and I know that I need to, right? And so what I really appreciate in listening to you talk is about how much your group does educate yourselves and really keep a mind to what is current, what is trending, right? And where does that come from? Just really, where does that come from? And how do you do that? Like, do you have like regular conversations about the issues of the day and the things that, oh, you know what, I think we need to be involved in this because we're recognizing that this is a problem?
I think a lot of women that join our group really have an interest in lifelong learning. Many of us are retired, but that was part of who we were as women in our work life. Many of us come from social service organizations such as teaching, social work, nursing. And so it's just part of our being, I would say.
And also at the national level, our national office, they're just amazing. The webinars and things that we have, that we could be listening to a couple of webinars almost every week because they put webinars and then there's chats and they're all free. We just have to go, we do it on Zoom. And so that helps to keep us very informed too. And also they send directives when the budget comes out, the federal budget, they send points and then they send us a note saying what the points were that they liked and what the points were that they didn't like. And so that gives us an idea as well. But I think most of our clubs do find we have more success at the local level. Like we have the national level, but the local grassroots level is where things get done.
I should imagine that when you're looking for membership and you've got, you know, new women who are coming in, that you really do want women participating that are really mindful about the current issues of the day, right? And wanting to make a change locally, but then also, you know, fostering that up to a global perspective, right? So I'm just so appreciative of this conversation, and we're going to just take a very short break, but we encourage our community, stay with us, and we're going to be right back and continue our conversation with Ann and Karen from CFUW. We'll be right back.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Think it's okay to drive high? Think again. Drug-impaired driving is as illegal as drunk driving, and in Ontario, the penalties are the same. If police suspect you're driving under the influence of drugs of any kind, or a combination of drugs and alcohol, and you fail a roadside test, your license will be suspended immediately for up to 30 days. You'll pay a penalty of $198. And you can be charged with a criminal offense of impaired driving, the same as alcohol. Driving high is never okay.
What kind of show do you want to see on Rogers TV? What interests you? Log on to rogerstv.com, fill out a show proposal, and tell us about your segment idea. We want to know what you want to see. Rogers TV, only on Rogers.
Welcome back to Educate, Inform, and Challenge. Again, I'm Teresa from the Women and Children's Shelter of Barrie, and we're having a great conversation with my friends Anne and Karen from CFUW, and we're just talking about the incredible work that they do across Canada, but also very much focused here locally in the city of Barrie. And so we've talked about the great work that they've done. We've talked about the partnerships, certainly with many agencies, Food Bank, Youth Haven, and ourselves, which we always appreciate. So I want to talk a little bit more, Anne and Karen, about you personally and just about your own journey in the work that you're doing with CFUW now. How did you get to this place? Why is this work important to you now?
Well, I initially started CFUW. I've been a member for 44 years. And I joined in Niagara Falls. We had moved there, and it was a way of getting to know like-minded women who had ideas and it's just things that I like to do. And that has CFUW has made me grow so much as a person, because I've started 2 clubs. I have been a regional director for Northern Ontario. And I just find by being aware of the issues and things, you learn things behind the scenes. You know, you learn about the meat of the issues, and otherwise it might just be a headline that you read on a newspaper or on the TV, and it doesn't hit you. And I just find I'm just so amazed at the work that CFUW people do right across Canada, like through their newsletters and the things they do. It's empowering, and we have a very good advocacy committee in our club here, and it's just very rewarding. And I know that it's helped make me grow as a person. So that's kind of been my baby, especially being the founding president of this group. It's very meaningful for me, and I want to see it go ahead and do well.
Yeah. And so, Karen, before we hear from you, Anne, I'm just really curious, where did that spirit of even giving back to the community come from? Did you? Yeah, go ahead.
Came from my parents. We moved it. We were pioneers in 2 mining towns, Northern Ontario and then Labrador. And my dad always said that when you lived in a community, you didn't just take from the community, you gave to the community. And my mom and dad were both very interested, and they did that themselves. So we had excellent models. And that was just something that all my sisters and I were all involved in that kind of way, but it came from our parents.
Yeah, and I love hearing that, because I hope that that's encouraging to our viewers who are listening about how do you instill giving back to your children. Because we certainly also, from a fundraising perspective, your wonderful generation are givers and really look to how they support agencies. When we see younger folks kind of moving into that, it isn't the same. And that encouragement, that thought about community mindedness isn't maybe quite the same. And so we need to work on that a little bit, right? Because we would love to see younger folks rallying around even our shelter and the work that we do here and really partnering with us, right? And so I love that, Anne, because I think that those are words of encouragement for grandparents, parents, in terms of how do you encourage the younger generations to become involved in their community. So thank you for that.
Probably my teaching background.
Pardon me?
Partly my teaching background too, because I was a teacher for my whole life, and that makes you aware of things too.
And it's such a sense of community in teaching and education. You're part of your local community. You're connected to the kids' lives and the parents' lives too, right? So that makes absolute sense in what you're saying. And so, Karen, I throw it over to you. So what does this involvement for CFUW mean for you personally, and how did you get here?
Well, my story to get there is kind of similar to Anne's. I moved to Barrie later in my life after I retired, actually. And well, I knew my husband's buddies from the poker club and the curling club, but I didn't know any women. So our current president took me to CFUW. And that was very fortunate. There's many clubs in the city that introduce you to women in the city. They have speakers, programs with speakers, and they have interest groups. But CFUW has the added component of the advocacy and the scholarship. So I think it's more enriching for me. It puts me on the stretch, and I've found an amazing number of like-minded women. And the things I've learned about are just amazing to me.
Yeah. And I'll ask you that same question that I had asked Anne too. Where does it for you, Karen, that spirit of wanting to give back? I understand the connection with other women, the learning and the growth that can happen. There's such a big part of CFUW, which is about giving back to the community and participating in community issues, and in particular issues surrounding women. What does that mean to you personally, Karen? Why is that important to you?
Like Anne, I was raised that way. I'm pretty sure I was raised that way. And I don't know, it's just in my DNA, I guess you would say. And I worked as a nurse all my adult life. So once you leave that, there's a big void about giving back. So I needed to find other outlets.
And I love that you said that, because, you know, if I could mention and say that there is such value and importance to the education, the knowledge, the expertise, the voice of women who have moved through their career. They've moved through their parenting of their kids, and now maybe their grandparents. And I don't believe that we have enough avenues or enough ways that we tap into the experience, the voice, the knowledge, the expertise of those women. I want to be mentored by women who have lived through all of those life changes. They're on the other side of retirement. They're on the other side of their kids being grown up. I want to be mentored and learn from those women, from you women, right? And I just know that you have so much to offer to the community and so much that we need to learn from. And so I am especially appreciative of CFUW, because I think that it really does support women at any stage of their life and their career to advocate, to mentor, to be a voice in the community for other women, such as myself, right? So I am just so appreciative of your voice and what you do. And so I want to circle back and just kind of ask you about, because I know that you contribute to agencies in the community. How do you do that? Like, do you have to fundraise? Do you do it through membership dollars? What does that look like?
Well, remember at the beginning of each year, when we pay our membership dues, we give a certain amount of money for our scholarship fund. And then we have garage sales. Then we generate revenue from that. But other than that, we don't do corporate, we haven't done corporate donations and things, but we have a charitable number, and anybody who would like to contribute to their scholarship program are most welcome to do so. We won't turn the money down.
Yeah. And how does the scholarship program work, and who is that for?
That's, well, there's a youth and care scholarship, but it's for any student in the Berrien District. We service Berrien District. We have members from Alliston and Wasaga Beach. It's not, and Angus, it's not just Barrie, actually. And any child can, any adult high school student can apply. The scholarship committee goes out to each high school in the spring. There's quite strict criteria, wouldn't you say? An emphasis on how they're doing in school, but also on their participation in the community and their need. So it's a three-pronged process, and we give about 4 scholarships a year.
That's amazing. And so if somebody wanted to get some more information, well, about that program, but CFUW, I think we would send them to your website. Would they learn more information about that from there? Okay. And there's an application process that maybe is laid out for them there?
And there's a fillable form online, actually. That's our latest and greatest.
Perfect. Love it. Love it. That's the world we're living in, right? It's all technology and filling out.
It's hard to read the writing of a lot of kids.
Yeah, for sure, right? So we've got about 5 minutes left. And so I want to pick your brains, and I want you to talk about why should other women consider becoming involved with CFUW. This is your time to promote yourselves, to encourage participation and membership, and for other women who are listening right now to say, you know what, I think I'd like to become involved with them. Why? Sell CFUW for our community.
Well, we have a lot of people join because of the scholarships that we give out and for advocacy reasons, but we also have about 15 interest groups, and they are going strong. We do like the book clubs, and we have 4 book clubs. We have an adventures group, and different members decide on what we're going to be doing for the adventure. So, and those are always learning opportunities because we go to places, or it could be the theater. We have a lunch bunch that goes out for lunch once a month. So you make friendships, and you find people with your own ideas. And I think we want to encourage a few younger people because many of us are not spring chickens anymore. I saw a cute cartoon the other day, and it said, "I'm not old," and it had a lady pushing another old woman in a wheelbarrow, and I said, "I'm not old, I just need repotting." So
I love it. Yeah.
It's nice to have new members because it brings new blood into the organization. Karen?
And I think our program of speakers is also very enriching. We cover a wide depth of speakers, from Easter seals to a Peace Park in. We learned about the Peace Park out in Angus that's just been newly developed. Usually, if there's elections on, we might have a meeting with a political bent, although we're very nonpartisan, and that's another interesting thing about the group. We are nonpartisan. And what else have we done, Anne?
Well, we've had different speakers. We had from high tea to powwows. We had a story of identity from a Indigenous speaker. And we had a man from the Restoring the Nottawasaga River. So we really cover a broad spectrum of subjects. We even had 2 ladies who spoke on cannabis for the youth and for the curious, which was they were hilarious, actually. They were very informative, too, weren't they? We had Beth Forrest for the forest bathing. She spoke to us about forest bathing in April. So we have a wide variety, and we try to touch base on the issues that we're doing and that. And then even the speaker series for Ontario Council, that's in itself is worthwhile because that's where you get good speakers.
I think we've got a really good mix of the fun and the serious. So, it's not all serious, but there's a lot of very serious things, but there's a lot of fun and fellowship and eating.
Terrific. And you know what? I think that's a good place for us to put a pin in our conversation. Thank you for joining us on Educate, Inform, and Challenge. And we will see you here again next time. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
When I was diagnosed with Guillain-Barré syndrome, I was deteriorating in front of everybody.
All my life, I lived with sickle cell. I went through a tragic crisis that put me in a coma for 3 weeks. While I was in there, I received a lot of blood to put me in a healthier state.
I was given the plasma then through IVIG. Even though that happened so long ago, it still has a massive impact on me today.
Thanks to donors, I can live another life.
Because of you, I will be seeing my grandchild.
Watching Rogers TV.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Please consult your healthcare professional before starting any yoga program or exercise.
Hi, welcome to Flow with Kat. I'm Kat, and this is Lisa. Lisa will be helping us today with our modification or our beginner postures. And we're just going to have some fun and jump right in. So we're going to start in a seated position, any comfortable position for you, legs crossed or sitting in Sukhasana with one foot close to the pelvis and the other just in front. Bringing our hands to our knees. If you'd like to feel a little more grounded today, we can keep the palms facing down. If you'd like to be open to receiving the energy of the universe, we can keep the palms facing up. And we're just going to start with our breath. So taking a moment to just close your eyes if it's comfortable for you. And we're going to just notice our breath. So not changing anything, just becoming aware of how we're breathing. Maybe we're breathing slowly, maybe we're breathing shallow or deep. Just being aware and paying attention. Bringing ourselves inward. Are you breathing through the nose, through the mouth? Just taking this time to bring our awareness inward and focus on our breath. And in a moment, we're going to do 3 rounds of 4-6 breathing. This is a very simple breath that we use to just calm ourselves down, calm down the nervous system, which I could use right about now. How it works is we will inhale through the nose to the count of 4, and we'll exhale through the mouth to the count of 6. When we're breathing through the mouth, we're going to open the mouth and sigh. So it's something like this. And we're going to expel every last bit in that 6 seconds. So continuing to breathe in your natural rhythm. With your next exhale, just expel every last bit of breath, pushing your belly in, getting rid of everything, and we're going to start with our inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lovely. Returning to your natural rhythm of breath. You can choose to keep your eyes closed throughout your practice. This is a yin practice today, so we'll be doing very passive postures, staying in them and holding them for a little bit longer than we would normally do in a flow. This is going to stretch out your deep tissues, your fascia, your joints, your ligaments, and really get you feeling loose. It also, through our stillness, helps to calm the mind and bring us into a beautiful state to start our day or end our day or continue with our day. So let's go ahead and again, moving with your own breath. On your next exhale, drop your chin to your chest. Let the weight of your head stretch out the back of your neck, not forcing the chin to the chest, just letting gravity do its thing here. Keeping your shoulders down away from your ears and always being mindful and conscious of your breath. moving with your own inhale to bring your head back up to center. And on your exhale, letting the left ear come down to the left shoulder. Again, keeping the shoulders away from the ears. Bringing your awareness to your breath. Sometimes we fall out of our breath as we come into or come out of postures. Inhaling the head back to center. And on your exhale, right ear comes to right shoulder. Coming back to your breath, keeping the shoulders away from the ears. Inhaling your head back to center. And I'd like you to brace your core a little bit. So almost brace it as if somebody was going to come and punch you in the stomach, which we hope never happens, but kind of lengthening up through the spine. And on our next exhale, we're going to let our head gently come back, closing the mouth so we feel the stretch through the front of the neck. Inhaling our head back up to center. And we're going to go ahead and come onto our hands and bring our bodies all the way down. Bring the bellies all the way down to your mat. Bring your left ear down to the mat. Bring your arms down by your sides, palms facing up. And we're just going to stay here for a moment. This is a wonderful passive posture that decompresses the back, brings a nice twist into the neck. Taking a moment to maybe scan your body, letting your heels roll open, relaxing your shins and your thighs, relaxing your pelvis, your lower back, your upper back, relaxing your shoulders, your arms, and your hands. And finally, relaxing any of the muscles you might be tensing up in your neck and letting your ear or cheekbone rest solidly on the mat. This also brings a nice gentle twist into the neck, stretches out the trapezius muscles. We're going to go ahead and slide the hands up, bringing the palms underneath the shoulders, spreading the fingers. And on our inhale, we're going to peel our chest off the mat, sliding the elbows forward so that forearms are perpendicular to the top of your mat. Looking straight ahead and slightly down, coming into our Sphinx pose here. If you're feeling a little too much compression in your lower back, you can go ahead and press your pubic bone into the mat slightly. Very nice. With your next exhale, we're going to come down and bring the left ear to the mat, bringing our hands and our arms down by our sides again, palms facing up. And once again, just relaxing the entire body, letting the shoulders roll forward, relaxing all the muscles in the neck, so we're just letting our head rest very heavily on our mat and bringing a nice twist into the neck. As always, coming back to our breath. If you find that your mind is a bit of a tornado now, you can always count your breath. This helps to bring a single focus, and it lets our mind have a little bit of calm. So we'd inhale to the count of 1, exhale to the count of 2. Inhale to the count of 3, exhale to the count of 4, and go up to 10, and then start all over again. Taking one more deep breath here. And then let's go ahead again and slide our palms up under our shoulders. And on our inhale, we're going to peel our chest off the mat, sliding our elbows underneath our shoulders. Forearms are perpendicular to the mat, looking forward and down just a little bit. Very regal in our Sphinx posture here. Taking a nice deep breath in. And then we're going to go ahead and push ourselves back to come into a tabletop posture. So as always in our tabletop posture, we want to have our knees directly under our hips and our wrists directly under our shoulders. Anytime we're like this, we want to spread the fingers wide. And what we're going to do is we're just going to walk back towards the back of our mat a little bit here as we're going to come into our puppy pose. It's a little bit uncomfortable, but a wonderful stretch for the shoulders and the back. So making sure that we're going to keep our hips directly over our knees. Take a nice deep breath in. And on our exhale, we're gonna walk our hands forward, but bringing our chest straight down so our hips continue to stay over our knees. Coming down with our forehead, possibly our chest, stretching the arms out front. If you find that this is a little too intense on the shoulders, go ahead and open those arms up a little bit. Just to gain a little bit of relief, it makes it a little bit more comfortable for you. Coming into our breath here. Feeling a nice stretch through the shoulders and the upper back. This is a wonderful way to counteract the hunching over our phones, our laptops, the stove. If you feel that you have a lot of flexibility in this posture and have done it before, you can go ahead and bring your chin to the mat, making sure to not feel any pinching and pain. Yin is about discomfort, but never pain. If your chin is on the mat, you can go ahead and bring your forehead back down. Let's take a couple of deep breaths here. Really feeling your body relax on each exhale. And then go ahead and engage your abdominal muscles. So pull your abs in like you're bracing again. And we're going to gently walk ourselves back up to our tabletop position. We can move forward onto our mat a little bit here, and we're gonna head into our swan posture. So go ahead and step back with the right leg like we're coming into a plank. So on your toes and the balls of your feet, and we're gonna push up like we're coming into a plank, and we're gonna bring the right knee behind the right wrist, bringing the pelvis down, the left knee, and the top of the left foot down. Letting that right foot slide back if that's where it wants to go, never yanking that foot up. We want to honor our body and listen to where it's at, and it changes on every particular day. It goes from flexible to tight, so listening to where you're at now. Go ahead and let your pelvis sink down. If you find that you're really high up on the hips, you can grab a pillow and place it underneath the hip just to support. We want to make sure we're not rolling over to the right side and keeping our hips square to the front. So we're going to just start by staying like this, letting the pelvis sink down on its own. You can be on your tippy fingers like myself if you've got T-Rex arms, or you can be flat onto your palms. Taking nice deep breaths, allowing yourself to just gently sink into this posture. If it's available to you and you'd like to deepen the posture, you could go ahead and come down onto your forearms. You can also take a pillow and place it underneath, stack pillows up and rest your head on it if you'd like to get really super comfortable in the posture. And then if you'd like to go even farther, you could go ahead and bring your chest, your forehead, and your arms all the way down. Coming into your breath, relaxing that left leg, relaxing the right leg also. So maybe finding that that right foot is sliding back. That's A-okay. Let it go where it needs to. Mine is slowly, slowly creeping towards my belly button. Using your breath to help you stay in the posture. Again, you can count the breath. You can listen to the music and make that your single point of focus. Finding our stillness. And once again, moving with your inhale, we're going to slowly walk ourselves back up to come and rest onto our hands once again. And then what we can do is we can tuck the left toes and bring that left knee forward to help us swing that right leg back out, coming into our tabletop position. You could go ahead and float that left leg back a little bit and then in, just to release that intense stretch that we just had going on. And then let's go ahead and do the other side. So coming up onto the toes and the balls of your right foot, we're gonna push up like we're in a plank and then bring that left knee behind the left wrist, coming down with our pelvis. The top of the right knee comes down, the top of the right foot comes down, and sinking that pelvis low. Once again, if you find that the left hip is really high up, you can put a pillow or a folded blanket, a block, whatever you need to do to be supported, and making sure we're not rolling over to the left side. We want to keep our hips square to the front. We're just going to sit here for a moment, letting the hips settle before we choose to deepen it, if that's what we choose to do. So go ahead and find your breath. Close your eyes, relax into this posture. And if you choose to deepen it, you can go ahead and come forward onto your forearms. And if you'd like to deepen the posture even more, bringing the forehead, the chest, and the arms down to the ground. Relaxing that right leg, relaxing your head down, your arms are fully rested on the mat, heavy, supported by the ground. Coming into your breath, maybe counting your breath. Another thing I like to do is use my breath as a mantra. So on my inhale, I say, I am. And on my exhale, put any adjective you like. I am here, present, amazing, strong, whatever you like. Inhaling, I am, and exhaling your adjective. Repeating this over and over again. This is an intense stretch for the outer hip. If you're tight like myself, you could be feeling this also into your inner thighs, possibly even your hamstrings. We all carry our tension in different places. But this is a beautiful stretch to release tension through the hip area. Let's go ahead and take one more deep breath here. On the exhale, feeling everything sink just a little bit closer to the ground. And then moving with your next inhale to walk yourself back up. And then we're going to tuck the right toes, bring the right knee forward, and release that left leg. You could go ahead and float that leg back and forward just 1 or 2 times just to loosen that stretch. I know you have to loosen a stretch. That's yoga. Go ahead and cross your ankles and find yourself on your bum or however you'd like to. We're going to bring our legs completely out in front of us, coming into our passive forward fold. So in the beginning, we're going to be a little bit strict here. So we're going to flex the feet towards you. We're going to lift them off the ground by pressing the thighs into the ground and rolling your legs internally. So kind of like you're pressing your bunion bones together. Like if you had a piece of paper, you'd be holding it between those. Bringing your hands down to your hips, we're going to inhale and float the arms up, palms facing inward. On our exhale, we're going to fold forward forward from the waist. So hinging at the waist, reaching forward, keeping our gaze on the horizon to keep a flat back. When you can no longer keep that flat back, allow yourself to round down. Your arms come down by your sides, palms facing up. Let your head completely hang down. Draw your shoulders back and down and then release everything. If you find you're too high off the ground here, you could go ahead and take a pillow, a couple of pillows, a bolster, anything, and rest it onto your legs just so that you're supported. Maybe resting your head onto the pillows here. And we're just gonna hang here for a moment. Relax your legs now, relax everything in your body. This is a beautiful posture to stretch out the entire back body from the crown of your head down to the back of your ankles. Just finding our breath here. You're gonna feel your body raise with your inhale, and then maybe with your exhale, you're gonna find that you come down just a little bit lower. And it's fine if you don't. Just allowing yourself to be where you are at today. Bringing our awareness to our breath, maybe counting the breath or using our mantras of I am wonderful, I am here, I am present. In the beginning, this is a very difficult posture for some people. I find it very challenging, but it very quickly becomes one that I could stay in for quite a while. This is great to do before bed. It's also an inversion, so it gets the blood back to the head, back to the heart. Brings a sense of calm into the mind. Let's take 2 more nice deep breaths here. And with your next inhale, we're gonna very slowly rise up, vertebrae by vertebrae, going as slowly as you like, bringing your head last, maybe rolling out your shoulders a little bit. And then we're gonna go ahead and find ourselves all the way onto our backs on our mats, coming into our reclined butterfly pose. So lying down, I like to spread my shoulders out, open up your arms, take up as much room as you like. We're gonna bring the soles of the feet together, and we're gonna let the knees fall out, stretching out our groin and our hips. If you're finding that there's too much pressure in the hip area, go ahead and place a block or a rolled up blanket or a pillow under each thigh, just above your knee. Allow your eyes to close. Allow your mind to settle. Coming back to our breath. Maybe feeling your shoulders get a little heavy, your head sinking into the mat. You can play around with this posture by bringing your feet closer to your pelvis or farther away. It changes where you feel the stretch, whether it's into your groin or your outer hips. So try and move around with that, always playing around and seeing where it feels the best for you. We're going to stay here for a few more breaths. Breathe as deeply as you like. And then once again, moving with your breath. On your next inhale, we're going to bring our knees back up to center. So the soles of our feet are on the mat. And then we're going to heel toe our feet out to the edges of our mat. So your right foot is going to be on the right edge of your mat, your left foot on the left edge. Take a nice deep breath in. And on your exhale, you're going to let your knees just fall down gently to the right. So your left knee is going to be kind of in the crook of your right, but keeping that foot distance so that there's space and one leg is not on top of the other. You can stay here, or if you'd like to intensify the stretch, you can pick up the right foot and gently place the ankle on the outside of the left thigh above the knee. Let that left hip roll completely off the mat. We want to get that nice internal rotation of the hip here. We don't generally tend to internally rotate the hips, more of an external rotation when we stretch. Coming into your breath. Go ahead and let this right foot come back down to the mat, and on your inhale, bring the knees up to center. Exhale, let them come down to the left. And if you choose to intensify the stretch, go ahead and bring that left ankle onto the outside of your right thigh, letting that right hip roll completely off the ground. Let's take a couple of breaths here. And go ahead and release that left foot back down to the mat. Inhaling the knees up to center. And all we're going to do is we're going to stretch our legs out, open up wide, grab a blanket if you choose. If you'd like to feel warm and cozy, just cover yourself with a blanket, open yourself up, close your eyes, and coming into Shavasana. Shavasana is the yogi's me time. This is the most important part of our practice. This is where we get to reap the rewards of what we have done for both our body and our mind. So let yourself just be, let yourself just lie comfortable. Coming into your breath, letting your mind calm. And maybe taking a moment to thank yourself for showing up today, for making it to your mat, for pushing yourself to those edges of discomfort in your yin practice. Always breathing deeply. You can choose to end your practice in Savasana. I encourage you to stay here as long as possible. Fall asleep if you can, and wake up feeling amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. I had a really good time. Remember that you're amazing. Let your inner light shine through. Keep breathing. May the light in me honor the light in you. Thank you so much for coming. We'll see you again next time. Have a lovely day.